Welcome to another episode of the Neoliberal podcast. This episode promises to be very deep, very esoteric, very academic. Question: what is the difference between neoliberalism and neo-capitalism, if there's a difference? And secondly, is there any similarity or similarities between neo-capitalism and pseudo-communism? Thirdly, is it fair to describe pseudo-communists as a cult of Marxism? I sat down with Professor Emeritus Dr. Martin Oppenheimer to review and discuss our upcoming book, or a book on which he is contributing, of which I'm the author, Neoliberalism, Neoliberal Globalization, Reconsidered, which is the second edition to Neoliberalism, Globalization, Income Inequality, Poverty and Resistance. The discussions here are academic and delve into global geopolitical, social issues and social movements. The conversations are general and introduce the considerations we are reconsidering in this second volume. The discussions or the conversations here on the podcast today will be published as an article in the Neoliberal Post in what we are dubbing Towards Developing a Caribbean Thought Academic Journal, which is available in the Neoliberal Corporation's publication at www.theneoliberal.com. Now, Dr. Oppenheimer begins the episode today with a quick critique on the editing errors of Neoliberal Globalization Reconsidered, and then debate with me on whether there's a difference between neoliberalism and neo-capitalism. We concluded that they are different, yet neoliberalism is a process of neo-capitalism called the bureaucratic phenomena, or the bureaucratic phenomena. And if you want to read some more about the bureaucratic phenomenon or phenomena, you can see my book, Neoliberalism, the first edition of Neoliberalism, or Neoliberalism, Globalization, Income Inequality, Poverty and Resistance. That was published in 2021, and the opening chapters, the preface and the introductions and so on, I delve into the issue of the bureaucratic phenomena. Now, the students reading for the course Caribbean Thought at the Jamaica Theological Seminary may benefit from the discussions here and may interact with the discourse here as part of their learning. And the discussions here, this podcast, is a recommended material which may be referenced or submitted as part of the students' reflections, interactions, or research paper. But if they use the material here, this audio material, they will have to follow the college guidelines for documenting audio source. Other students from other colleges may need to check with their professors or university before referencing this material. Just so you know, I'm teaching at the Jamaica Theological Seminary, Caribbean Thought, as an adjunct lecturer there. And so this particular medium provides an interesting and great opportunity to continue the discussions that we are not only having in the class, but some of the discussions that extend from the book Neoliberal Globalization Reconsidered. Some of the concepts as well being developed into my dissertation. I'm currently at Georgetown doing my dissertation with a view of moving from Georgetown to the University of Pennsylvania. I'll know by March 1 if I will be at UPenn to continue my PhD. Just some background on Professor Martin Oppenheimer. Professor Martin Oppenheimer was a former professor at Rutgers University and University of Pennsylvania. He has written and edited several texts, such as The State of Modern America, Radical Sociologist and the Movement, The Hate Handbook, The American Military, so on and so forth. So the discussions here are deep, and of course they are of a particular pedigree, and they are backed by people who are social scientists and are involved in the study that we are embarking on today. Now, I invite you to subscribe for free to the podcast, the Neoliberal Podcast, on any platform, and you can donate to us at https://anchor.fm/the Neoliberal/support. We'll be right back after this, but when we come back, we go straight into the sit down with Professor Emeritus Dr. Martin Oppenheimer and myself.
Draft.
Yes.
Okay, are you ready for this?
Yes, I'm ready. Let me get my notes together. I
put this somewhere. Somewhere else. We don't need this.
Right.
Although I do have to say that I'm looking at this. I'm looking at the preface and so on. If I were a book reviewer,
yes,
I would have to say that it could stand a little better editing.
Yes, yeah, I agree with you, definitely.
But it's not serious. I mean, there are a lot of small things and so on and so forth.
Okay.
But basically, I would just stick that in at the end. And by the way, it could use better editing.
Yes, I agree, definitely, because there are several editors who people.
This, however,
yes,
is going to take a lot more work.
Right. Yes, I presume.
Let me go through. I only got through the preface.
Ah.
So let me just go through a couple of things here.
Yes. And some of those other stuff we will update. It hasn't been edited yet, so the publishers are going to edit it, and they're going to do line by line edit.
They better.
Yes, they're going to do, the editing is going to be more. The problem with this book is that after they edited it, I added some stuff to it. So that is the problem. That was the problem, yes.
Let's look at the footnote.
Yes.
Very confusing.
Oh.
Neo-capitalism is the new capitalism.
Yes.
Yeah, that's good. So how is neo-capitalism different from neoliberalism? That's not entirely clear.
Right.
All right. So that's because you use the term neoliberalism also.
Right. So it's like it's as if I'm using it interchangeably, or I say neoliberalism as a new strategy. The new strategy is a new kind of.
I know neoliberalism.
Right. So
I know, if you want to call it neo-capitalism.
yeah. So it's actually this. I borrowed that word from you. Actually, it's actually neo-capital. Yes, you used it before. Neo-capitalism. In a sense, neo-capitalism is neoliberalism. But it's an evolved form of capitalism, so to speak. Yes. So, but it's the one with greed and nepotism and yes, that's the new.
That's the new capitalism,
which is actually neoliberalism. Yes.
On from neoliberalism.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
So this is described as the bureaucratic phenomenon.
Yes.
Why bureaucratic? It's always been bureaucratic.
Right.
It's always bureaucratic.
Because it used to be
Bureaucracy
called
goes back to the Middle Ages.
that, or yes, because even within Judaism, with the Pharisaicalism, do as I do and not as
now
I
we have
say.
this interesting word,
Yes.
Pharisaicism,
Which is yes.
or neoliberalism.
Yes.
No.
Ah.
Pharisaicism, we just discussed this,
Right.
is neo-capitalism,
Right. Yes.
not neoliberalism.
Yes. Oh, that's okay.
So that has to be changed.
Yeah, I have to change that one. Yes.
And then you have this word. Pseudo-communism is a form of government, elite, false form of message, yes. Claims to be or is interpreted to be communism, but involves totalitarianism. Right.
Yes.
This is best described as a cult of communism or Marxism. A cult?
Yeah, I created that word from studying theology. Right? You talk about cult of Christianity. People claim to be Christian, but they deny the essential tenets of the faith. So I said cult of communism, and they said they claim to be communists, but they.
But the implication of cult or sect is that it's small.
Oh, yeah, okay,
And this
yeah.
is, and
it is not.
And it is not. Stalinism is not small.
That is true. What word do you think I should use to give that cultic idea, but of a more macros?
Well, the Soviet Union evolved from the revolution.
Yes.
Which was kind of bottom up.
Yes.
Workers' councils and Soviets and so on, evolved into a bureaucratic state.
Yes.
Right, a bureaucratic state, which we on that end of the left called Stalinism.
Yes.
After Joe. Uncle Joe.
Yes.
Stalinism. So Stalinism is the phenomenon of state control over the economy.
Okay.
Rather than being controlled by the people, as in under socialism or communism with a small c.
Yes.
It's controlled by a bureaucracy.
Right.
From the top down. And that bureaucracy is associated with, historically, Stalin.
Yes.
The Stalin regime beginning, let's say, in the late 1920s.
Okay.
Until its fall. But there are Stalinoid kinds of phenomena in other countries.
Yes. Almost like Russia. What's going on in Russia today? I mean, well,
no, because all elements of state control from the top down, as under Stalinism, that's finished.
Right.
There is state intervention, but basically, it's as kind of what you described.
Yes,
it's neo-capitalism.
That's the point I was making.
It's a kleptocracy.
Yes,
it's an oligarchy. It's corrupt. It's
nepotism, despotism.
The state intervenes insofar as it is necessary for Putin to remain in power.
Yeah, right.
And so on, but that's not the essence of the class structure. The class structure. What is the class? It's always the question. What is the class structure?
Right.
Class structure of the current Russia.
Yeah.
It's a capitalist state.
Yes.
Except it's a corrupt or corroded version
of the capitalism.
State.
Yes.
Not that the American version is not corrupt.
Right.
But there are degrees, and there are.
And the elites are in control, you know.
And there are some countervailing powers here. I mean, we do have a free labor movement.
Yeah, that
which
is
they
true.
don't have.
Yeah.
And they haven't had since 1925-ish or so.
That is true, yeah.
When Stalin put a stop to that.
Yes, okay, so I'll update that.
It's not a cult.
Right.
It's a state.
It's a state of
and what is the nature of the social class that state represents?
Right. Yeah.
That's the question. The state always represents the ruling class.
That is true. Unless there is so much.
There is so much. Unless 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 there is so mu interclass
yeah.
conflict that no class is strong enough
Right.
to dominate the state.
Ah, yes.
And when that happens, you have a
A
dictatorship, which
Yeah.
is called Bonapartism.
Please. Yeah, Bonaparte. Yeah, I
Karl
think
Marx, the 18th Premier, Louis Napoleon
Bonaparte.
Bonaparte.
Yeah. Coming from adopted from the French, a former French, what's his name, Bonaparte,
Yeah,
the
Louis
former leader,
Napoleon.
Napoleon Bonaparte. Yes. So,
Yeah.
and he had used the lumpen proletariat and so on.
Well, the Bonapartism. Some Trotskyites thought, or Trotsky thought,
Yeah.
that Stalinism was a form of Bonapartism.
Yeah.
Bonapartism is always a temporary phenomenon.
Ah. Okay.
It builds a bridge to something else.
Okay.
What else?
Yes.
Well, Louis Napoleon Bonaparte built a bridge to the beginnings of modern capitalism.
Yeah.
He built roads,
Mm-hmm.
Created infrastructure,
He did.
and so on. So that's what he did.
Yes. And made France what France. Sorry.
Anyway, Trotsky thought that Stalin was a bridge to the restoration
Yes.
of capitalism.
Yes.
He was wrong.
Ah.
It was a bridge. It wasn't a bridge. It
Yes.
was in and of itself its own phenomenon.
Yes. As if a means to an end. I mean, it is. We still do argue that there's a principle that you have to. Was it Trotsky who also said that there has to be some amount of. Capitalism is, as I said, is a means to an end. In order to realize communism or socialism, you have to have an experiment of capitalism. There have to be some kind of competition, some kind of experiment with capitalism, in a sense, before you can realize true utopian society, which is.
Well, you have to have capitalism before you can, theoretically.
Theoretically, that was the process towards utopian society.
It used to be
thought,
but not necessarily.
Not anymore,
because
right?
Look, and Trotsky's theory, it is possible to leap over stages of society. And this is actually a very important idea.
That's powerful.
Because if, as in Russia, the capitalist class is too weak at the time of the revolution, then what other classes are available for this to create a state?
That is true.
There's the working class and the peasantry.
Yes.
And they were not strong enough.
And they're still
to maintain the Soviet state. In the original 1917 sense.
Okay.
And since they were not able to do that, who else was there? It was then that the bureaucracy gradually became the state.
Right.
The Communist Party bureaucracy.
Yes. To fill the void.
Similarly, Communist China, until maybe 15 years ago, when it began to divert into the capitalist road.
Yes.
So today,
Communist
China is not communist.
No, it's not. It
is a form of a capitalist state with serious state intervention.
Yes.
Much more serious than in Russia.
In Russia,
And for different reasons. Cuba? Cuba is a kind of soft Stalinist state, right?
That's true. But they have failed because of the embargo,
Well, it's the economy is a mess.
Yeah.
And you can debate how much of it is because the embargo and how much of it because they don't know how to run an economy.
That is true.
But that's another issue.
It's true,
All right, moving on.
Yes.
Okay. You got to clean this up.
All right.
My basic criticism is not the content, but the form.
Okay. Yes.
And the biggest single problem is that your sentences are too long.
Yes, okay. I know the editors are going to say that because I think so I work on that one. All right.
Okay, let's look at the next page 7. You begin the paragraph with therefore. That's not good.
Yeah. Yes.
It's just eliminate that word and begin. This book is.
Okay.
Right?
Good.
And actually, this whole section,
Yes.
from the beginning until about page 11,
Yes.
is really not necessary.
Which one? Oh, you know what? Yes, I agree with you. I completely agree.
You don't have to agree with me, but here's where this is the preface, right? This is not the main text.
No, it's still part.
So in the preface, you're going to say what you're going to do.
Right. Yeah.
No, don't, not the word further, right?
This project will.
And you go forward from that.
Okay.
And it would be much simpler.
Okay. Yes.
Right? So my main point is a lot of these sentences are too long.
Okay, I wrote in that. Yes.
Break them up.
Yes, I'm going to do that.
So start with page 11, and then I have one other little note. This is just, a random note. Here we are in the main text.
Right.
So that that's that's you say. What did we do? We concluded our first analysis. You're talking about the previous book, right?
Yes.
All right. You don't need these extra words. But again, too many.
Yes, I take that out.
Too many sentences running together.
Okay, good.
This is the previous version of this that you sent me.
Okay. Yes.
Yeah.
And I actually deleted a large portion of it. So
there is something that.
So you said I should delete from page 9.
Page.
You said better to start with page 11, right?
Page 17.
Don't.
Now wait a minute. Where the heck is it?
Oh, you did say so. That page 17. Sentence is too long.
Page. Also on page. Is it on page? Must be on page 17.
Yeah. Let's check it.
Oh, no. That's not where it is. Where it is? Oh, here it is.
Just quickly. For example,
Black Wall Street.
No, I knew you were gonna have I had a problem with that too.
Wait a minute.
Yes.
I never heard of this one.
Oh, you never heard of Black Wall Street?
Oh, yes, I have, but it's not 1958, and it's not in Maryland.
Oh.
The one I know. Maybe
there was another.
Something I haven't heard of. No,
yeah, there was a.
Black Wall Street was in Tulsa, Oklahoma.
Right.
And it was in 1919, maybe.
Yeah, I checked that.
Like
I did something in my Georgetown class recently about There's actually several Black Wall Street that they had. There was one recent in Maryland. Yep, Maryland.
No.
But I'm going to check.
I don't know.
I'm going to make a note
I
of
know
it.
I know it's in Tulsa, Oklahoma.
You might be right.
And I'm pretty sure it was 1919.
When
this is exactly what happened. It became the envy of the KKK and the white status quo, etc., etc.
Yes. So okay, I make it.
I don't know about the rest of the sentence.
Yes. So that sentence I need to.
Now, all of a sudden, now you leap to Russia.
Yes.
At least make a separate paragraph.
Okay.
And you don't start with the word also.
Okay.
All right. Also. No. Russia today wants to. Yes. All these terrible things.
Too many connecting sentences. I guess it's the British culture that I was They're always like, oh, connecting. You always want to do also, therefore, however, nevertheless, nonetheless.
Yeah.
So that was drilled into me from that British culture. Therefore, nevertheless.
It's British.
Yeah, yes, it is.
It's a British.
Yeah, and they're very wordy.
Okay,
yes.
that's as far as I got.
Okay, great. Well, I love that. I love that, and I'll do my research with the Tulsa, Oklahoma, 1958, 1919. But probably I was mixing up with the Osage, the one on Osage in Philadelphia with the burning one, with the burning. Was it 48th and Osage or 52nd and Osage? They had the burning.
Oh yes.
When was that?
I know what you mean. Yeah.
Yeah, probably I was confusing that with that was in 1950s.
That
Yeah.
was in.
Yeah, that was 1950. That's what that was.
That was not 1950.
Oh, when was that?
That was
More
later.
recent.
That was later.
1980s probably.
I think it was in the 70s.
Yeah, I'm gonna do my research around that.
Yeah, I know that. I know that. Yeah, that's West Philadelphia.
West Philadelphia,
right. The MOVE people.
Yes.
MOVE.
Mm-hmm.
The police bombing of 6221 Osage Avenue in Philadelphia was on May 13th, 1985. Again, the police bombing of 6221 Osage Avenue, the police bombing of the MOVE Collective in West Philadelphia killed 11 people and left city blocks in ashes. The bombing, which happened on May 13, 1985, while many of the city's residents were still basking in the glow of the previous afternoon's Mother's Day gatherings, hundreds of heavily armed police officers surrounded a row house in a black neighborhood in West Philadelphia. After firing thousands of rounds of ammunition and canisters of tear gas into the home, they flew a helicopter over the roof and dropped a package of military-grade explosives. That's what happened in 1985. Not 1958, but I think I put the 8 where the 5 is supposed to be. Typographical error again, but it was on May 13th, 1985. Now, as it relates to the other instance that I referred to, the bombing, not the Black Wall Street, and I actually have the correct information in the book, in the Man in Neoliberalism. Black Wall Street is quite an interesting occurrence in American history, because Black Wall Street actually happened in 1921. Again, Black Wall Street. That was the Tulsa Race Massacre of May 31, 1921 to June 1, 2021. The Tulsa Race Massacre, also known as the Tulsa Race Riot or the Black Wall Street Massacre, was a 2-day-long massacre that took place between May 31 to June 1, 2021. And where did it happen? Tulsa, in the Greenwood district. Now, Tulsa Race Massacre, which was known as the Black Wall Street, as we said, was attacked between May 31, June 1, 1921. The peaceful, wealthy black community was attacked when mobs of white residents, some of whom had been appointed as deputies and armed by city government officials, attacked black residents and destroyed homes and businesses of the Greenwood district in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Now, this event is considered one of the single worst incidents of racial violence in America, in American history, and has been described as one of the deadliest terrorist attacks in the history of the United States. Of course, the attackers burned and destroyed more than 35 square blocks of neighborhood, at the time one of the wealthiest black communities in the United States, colloquially known as the Black Wall Street. And of course, the New York Times and the New York Times have and several other news agencies and articles were written about this particular story, and it's part of an African American history of mass racial violence in the United States. January 6th could be akin to that. Okay, several years after, and of course, Black Wall Street again, over and over again, instances of racial violence, the backlash against any inkling of a black position which seems to be rising. If there is a black rising, we talk about the black position. If there is a black rising, there is a backlash. And we can point in history instances where there was a backlash whenever you have a black rising. We lift this issue up in the book Neoliberal Globalization, Reconsidered. And this is part of and this is what I was getting to when I spoke with Professor Emeritus Martin Oppenheimer. When I go back and sit with him, it will be refreshing for him to hear the updates and the take that I have on this particular issue. We continue with the discussion with Professor Emeritus because we have about 45 minutes. We continue with the discussion for another 45 minutes, exploring neoliberal globalization and also discussing Russia and China and Taiwan and several other issues. We'll be right back with Martin Oppenheimer.
Guard dropped tear gas
Oh
on
wow!
them from the air.
Oh wow! Boy, that's crazy. That is
Late 60s.
late 60s.
Early,
60s was
early
quiet.
70s.
60s and 70s there was so much tension. You
Yeah.
know, I mean, there's tension now, but
No, there were movements then.
yes, movements. Yes, here it's
All those people are dying out.
yeah, it's not as organized and
So that is
yeah. So I need to correct
okay.
that.
So yeah, that obviously that leaped out at me.
Yes, thank you. I'll correct that.
Wrong year, wrong place.
I think the same thing happened. There's a date in here that I need to correct. Actually,
You probably thought it was the move thing.
yes, I believe so. I think I when I think it was the wrong date, I must probably, and I just added that particular section. I just added it recently. I need to check my sources again. Yes, Caribbean fanonism. Ooh.
Okay, the new expression is global south.
Yes.
That's displaced third world, emerging economies,
Yes.
emerging whatever dependent states.
Yeah. Yes. They're trying to be diplomatically correct and
Well, Dale, you'll see from this book.
yeah. I'm looking forward to reading this book. Yes, Dale Johnson, Class and Social Development: A New Theory of the Middle Class.
These guys, Dale, and well, there are several of them that are the prime people here. Johnson, God, they're all dead.
Oh wow!
No, it's not in this book. Wait a minute. There's another book.
Yes.
I wonder if I still have it.
I like how you recycle. I'm gonna do the same thing. This is beautiful. This is perfect.
I don't think I have it anymore.
What book is that? Oh, maybe you gave it to me.
No, I don't know. That's funny. I don't know where it is. have given it to a student and not have it and not gotten it returned,
Oh,
which has happened quite
yes.
not a few times, not often, but Nicaragua. Actually, George Washington is the Simon Bolivar of the United States.
Yeah,
Who came first?
I think it was
I think Washington
Washington,
came
yeah,
first.
first from
Yeah.
yes, and then Bolivar, yeah, yes. So yeah, so these many of the Latin American and many of these countries, yeah, we use the word global south, but as I said, I had said that they were dependent capitalist countries, but as you said that, I mean, we don't use that anymore. They're much more modern. They're building cars in Mexico.
They are capitalist.
They are capitalist,
They are
yes.
hooked into the world economy.
Yes,
That's
and they have
clear.
a local elite.
But everybody is.
Yes, that is true.
Russia, China.
Yes.
China is not part of the global South. I think you did write something
Yes, yeah.
about China being in the same category
as the US.
But
Okay.
they're really not anymore.
Not anymore, right? Back in they were, but I think
not in this book. You should get that out of there.
Yeah.
Corrected.
That is true. They moved beyond that. They are an example of. I think I talk about China, but in the sense, actually, towards the end of the book, I talk about them being they're being a superpower. They have China's intentions in terms of wanting to be a superpower, and the fact that the world now has two global we have a global. We talk about who rule the world. The world has global challenges now: China and Russia.
So, what is the class nature of the People's Republic of China?
Well, I mean,
what class?
Yeah.
What class does the state represent?
Yeah. Well, the state
in whose interest is the state?
Yeah. Well, they said it's supposed to be for the people's interest.
Well,
but
we are too sophisticated to pay attention to that.
Yes. But it's in the interest of.
There is the bureaucracy. Yeah. The former there was the communist bureaucracy.
Yeah.
They certainly have an interest, but they are also very interwoven with private enterprise.
That is true.
The bureaucrats themselves own property big time.
Yeah, they do. They have a large. They have a big elite core there. You know, China was just buying Teslas in China. They're sending them back now because they can't afford the economy is probably. I mean, the thing is with some of these countries, they cannot maintain. I talk about that. Some of these countries, they cannot maintain their level of prosperity, or they cannot maintain their level of development and so on. Some of these countries, the wealth and the prosperity, but as I said, they've transplanted the dependent part of their capitalism to more. They're trying to be first world and then supersede the U.S. and then have an American society in China.
Well, Europeans and we cannot maintain development either.
That is true. Well, that's a good point. Yeah, you're right.
So, what's the difference between China and Russia?
There is no difference, I think.
I think they're not the same.
Right, in terms of culture and people.
I think there's in China.
Yeah.
Certainly there is corruption.
Yes. Yeah.
But that's not the engine of the economy. That's incidental.
Yes.
I think from what I've read, and we only know what we've
read. That is true. Yeah,
we haven't been there lately, or at all.
Yeah.
So
neither the class.
The corrupt oligarchs there that have been created through their connections with the state as
Yeah.
in Russia.
As in Russia, yeah. Yeah, that is true.
Nevertheless, do not drive the state.
That is, yeah.
And the state apparatus in China still plays a much larger role in the economy than in Russia.
Yeah.
I mean, remember when the Soviet Union collapsed, 2000, 1989,
1980s, yeah. It was Gorbachev
2000,
and so on, yeah.
everything was sold off.
Yeah.
These guys just grabbed
Everything, yeah.
factories and decided, okay, it's mine now. and to the extent that they were able to keep producing, they kept producing, and to the extent they didn't, they just sold it off for scrap.
Yeah.
Which is like a vulture capitalist in the United States doing that. So all these people were out of work.
Yes.
That never happened in China.
No, it didn't.
There
was no revolution.
There's no unemployment in
Yes.
China that I am aware of to any significant degree. It is true that in the
poverty,
the countryside, the idea is they don't allow them to move into the cities.
Yes.
You have to stay where you are.
Yes, that is true.
Yeah.
Everything in their proper place, in a sense. Okay, fine. Culturally, it's a little bit different in terms of Russia and how the country is set up, but in a sense, they still have that kind of totalitarian. I mean, they say they have some kind of elections in both these countries, but they seem to have similar processes in terms of the strategy and how but in terms of the culture and the people, they're different. But say, for example, you have the ex-KGB. I mean, what's his name is Vladimir Putin is ex-KGB, and we understand that he's part of a fraternity. And if he's replaced somebody from within that KGB, which represents old Russia, will continue his efforts to want to become the dominant, to be Mother Russia. They want to establish that Mother Russia. They still want to go back to that Mother Russia.
Yeah, I think that's right. Yeah.
Yes.
And in China, really the problem, the only problem that we are aware of is with the Uyghur Muslim.
Yes, that is true. And
maybe some, is it Tibet?
The Tibetan. Yes, the problem with Tibet and probably Hong Kong.
But
Hong Kong.
And of course Taiwan.
And Taiwan, yes. Hong Kong, which is too liberal. They still have they're trying to have they're still trying to control Hong Kong with an iron fist since they got their independence, or since they went back to
China. Back to China, right.
But there's so many liberals, and the idea there in Hong Kong is so different.
Yeah. So
yes.
How serious is that? That is, and are they really going to invade
Taiwan?
That would be insane.
I think they are. I mean,
insane.
Russia got Crimea, and now they're in Ukraine.
Yes, but nobody gives a shit about Crimea.
Right, that's true.
When he went to Ukraine, there was an army on the other side.
On the other side, right.
Crimea, there was almost nobody to oppose them.
Yeah, that's true.
And a lot of people there weren't opposed. Either. And where Putin went in Ukraine initially is areas where people were speaking Russian.
Yes, that is true.
Russian-speaking areas. Very Hitlerian. And Hitler did the same thing in a portion of. See, these idiots after World War I carved things up without regard to ethnic anything.
Ethnic cultures and peoples and so on, that is true. I mean, people are moving away from, people don't think about the self, the idea of the self, the idea of the other. They only think about themselves and what they hope to achieve. I mean, because that's what's going on in Russia. I mean, Ukraine should not have independence. They should not experiment with nationalism, and but the problem with Ukraine, for Russia is that what's his name is Jewish. That's what I believe.
Oh,
One, they don't want
Zelensky.
Zelensky is Jewish.
Yeah.
That's a major problem, and they're making deals with the West, and they're inching, and they have ideas of.
I mean,
It's
if you had told
yes,
if you had told my grandfather,
yes,
who was born in Tsarist Russia,
hmm
that there would be a Jewish leader
yes.
of the province of Ukraine, he would have said, "You are obviously insane."
Said yes, yes,
Right?
yes.
So the fact that he is Jewish is not really an issue.
Ah, yeah.
They did elect him. He's a
Yeah.
comedian.
I know, but
Have you seen any of the
yes,
things?
that's
They're
quite
very
amazing.
funny.
Yes, but I understand that
Sadly
they're Russian.
funny.
They are the Kremlin. That's not who they wanted. I spoke with several Russians, and I think that's part of the problem too. They have they have plans for the region. Russia has plans for the region, and they still, as much as they got all of these other, the countries that were broken up and have their sovereignty. Russia still thinks that no, we hold the power, and you should not experiment with prosperity or experiment with economic independence. And Ukraine, these countries which seem to be experimenting with with independence and doing very well for themselves, and I think that's a problem for Russia as well.
Well, the Baltic states,
Yeah,
of course, they were occupied by
yeah,
Russia
yeah. That's true. Yes.
during the war.
Yes.
During the war,
Yes.
actually, during the war.
Yes. That is so
To
true.
the extent, well, first the Nazis came,
Yeah.
and they occupied the Baltic states
Yes.
in 1940,
Russia-
41,
yeah.
42.
No.
And then the Russians threw them back.
Right.
Forced them out. So it was Russian, part of the Russian Federation
Yeah.
from 1945 to
What's the 80s? Is it?
89,
89, something like that.
90,
Yeah.
91,
Yes.
right? So of course Russia thinks,
Yeah.
and at least one country, a third of the population are Russian speaking
Yeah.
now.
That is. Yep.
And they feel discriminated against by the majority of the population, who are
Yeah.
Lithuanians or whatever
Right.
they are,
Yeah.
Latvians.
Or Moldovans or whatever.
Well, Estonians don't speak. Estonians speak a language that is closer to Finland, to Finnish.
Okay.
It's
Yes.
a very strange, very strange language. It's not like any of the
Yeah.
languages of the West.
Mm.
Latvia, Lithuania, they have their own languages.
Yes.
Anyway, that's
Yes.
neither here nor there.
That's true.
But
That's true.
the fact that he's Jewish is completely. I mean,
Right.
he doesn't go to synagogue every Saturday.
Right. No.
He doesn't
It's
have any time.
oh, not that
Right
kind
now,
of Jew.
anyway.
Yes. Jewish is now. It's an ideology kind of. It's the idea of having a Jew, kind of.
Well,
Irrespective of whether or not they.
Does this play a role in Putin's thinking?
Probably not.
He's probably got a lot of Jewish
Yeah.
generals
Yeah.
or Jewish background.
Yeah. That's true. Yeah. Yeah.
The Jewish population
There's a lot in
the
Russia.
Soviet Union
That
was
is true.
considerable.
Was yeah.
After the war, a lot of them left.
Yeah. But still, a lot
the
remain.
ones that were kind of assimilated,
Yes.
they weren't particularly religious.
Yeah. That is true.
They stayed, and they made their way through the bureaucracy. And
Yes.
Stalin was hot and cold about Jews. Officially,
Yes.
no problem. Unofficially, he used Jews as a scapegoat from time to time
Yeah.
when it was convenient.
Right. That's true.
But so unreliably a friend of the Jews, very unreliable. Anyway.
Yes. So, but China and Russia, they have always those two countries pose tremendous problem for the world today, and let's see how the world will respond. I don't think they have an idea as to how to respond. They're very weak and soft. The West today, they need young blood.
That's a problem.
Yes,
Yeah,
they work with a lot of strategy. It's as if in the 21st century, the Western leaders, there's no strategy. You know.
yeah.
Yeah.
We have in this country an
Yeah.
18-year-old kid was just elected mayor
I just saw
of
that.
some town in
Um,
Arkansas.
yes, I could. And he said
that
he's
nice?
still in college.
Yeah.
He's still going to college, so he's gonna go. He's going online, doing online schooling now. Quite interesting.
Yeah, we have a younger. Well, we don't have a young president either.
Right. Oh wow, that's on the opposite. On the other side of the spectrum. Yes.
Yeah, both Trump and Biden
Yeah.
are not exactly kids anymore.
They are getting older and so
No.
on. But you know, the world is changing, especially with the young people. I think the young people provide hope. Still, they are not thinking in the ways that how the older people are thinking. They just want to have fun.
Well,
You know, and enjoy each other.
my I'm a member of DSA, Democratic Socialists of America.
Right. Yes.
I'm not active at this point because I really can't get around much since COVID.
Yes.
We don't have face-to-face meetings anymore. It's all on Facebook. It's boring.
That is true.
Zoom meetings. But the membership,
it's growing.
The average age of the members is probably about 26.
Wow.
Nationally.
Okay. Yeah.
The national membership is officially on paper about 90,000, which is not much.
Yeah.
But and in Central Jersey, on paper, maybe 120.
Yeah.
But realistically active, maybe 2 dozen, 3 dozen. But the active ones
are
active. In their 20s and early 30s.
Oh, wow.
All of them.
Oh, okay.
All of them.
But you see what's going on. I mean, and I think the last time I was here, there was some Amazon. There were some young people who was protesting at Amazon. There's been quite one or two little sprinkles of protest movement or actions throughout over the last couple of months. I don't know if that was part of the young people seem to be leading.
The people who work for Starbucks.
Yes, Starbucks. That's
yeah.
That is true.
Well, the DSA chapter in Central and around the country, they support these strikes.
And that's good. That's good.
That's one of them.
I need to get involved. I actually send them an email. I follow them on social media. The DSA. I don't really know anyone apart from you.
You want to join?
Yes.
It's easy. You just join online.
Oh, the DSA. I think I was looking for them. DSA.org, I think.
Yeah, you can find them. It's very easy. Very easy to join.
Okay, well, I'm gonna join. That'd be great.
It's not expensive.
How much is it?
I don't know.
You have to pay?
Well, no. You actually, if you don't have, in your case,
no. Great.
You don't have any money.
No, I do not.
So you can get away with, nothing.
Yes. Okay. That's good. That's good. Right.
They might actually pay you because you're black.
Yes, well, I would love that.
I'm kidding. I'm kidding about that.
I know, that's fine. That's fine.
But the large majority are white.
Okay, yeah. That's true.
But the proportion of women to men is probably at least 50-50. The national leadership are all women. The leadership of my chapter are all women.
Oh, wow.
And, in fact, women of color. That is, they're South Asians.
Yes.
Because we live in that part of New Jersey.
Oh, wow. Here. Well, that is quite interesting.
And the most active guy in there is a graduate student at Rutgers. Yeah. He's a South Asian. He's from, I think his family's from Bangladesh.
Yes. Bangladesh. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, that's the Southeast Asian country, like Thailand, and so on and so forth. Yes.
Bangladesh is
And back. That's it. That's
formerly East Pakistan.
yeah. And they used and they play cricket because I come from a cricket country.
I think they
Yeah,
are
Bangladesh.
Muslim primarily.
Yeah. Yes. 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 Oh. Yeah.
That place is a mess.
But yeah,
India.
India. India has the second largest population in the world, I think. Is it?
Rapidly catching up to China.
Oh wow!
They will surpass China in
Yeah.
10 years.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
So that's
Terrible.
That's going to be a
Bad
problem.
news.
Yes, that's bad
news.
news. China wants to be leading.
It's not that. It's that they can't support
the
the
that is
population.
true.
And China.
China is now returning
still, they have solved the problem of abject poverty.
Yes.
Not poverty,
Right.
but
Just
abject
poverty. Yes.
Before the revolution,
Yeah.
the pattern in the countryside was abject poverty.
Yes.
People would sold their daughters into slavery.
Into slavery. Mm.
After the revolution, they didn't.
Yes.
That stopped.
Yes, that is true.
So that you have to hand them. But then they went through a famine, which was unnecessary, like this in the Soviet Union in the 1930s. Yeah. They also had a famine due to just pure stupid planning.
Yes.
Mass collectivization of the peasantry. You cannot do that.
That's what happened with in the 1960s, 70s in Jamaica, a lot of the Caribbean when they were practicing socialism or something of the sort.
There's a difference between co-ops.
Yeah.
And collectivization.
Yes.
Involuntary collectivization.
Yes.
And they have collective farms in Israel.
Yeah.
But they're voluntary.
Okay.
It's a matter of education.
Yes.
Over many, many years. But peasants who have no land.
Yeah.
And the government comes and says, all right, now the land is yours. Land, peace, and bread. And suddenly peasants have a few acres that they can make a living, and then the government says, we're collectivizing all of this. You're now living in a collective farm.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And you get wages, or you get And then the peasants' reaction to that is, the government is not taking my cows.
Yes.
Or my crops. So they kill their cows. They burn the crops.
Yes.
And mass starvation ensues.
Yes.
As a result of that. And that's what happened in the Soviet Union in the 1930s. They sent soldiers out to seize the crops.
Yes.
So then there was a resistance. So then they shot the peasants and put them in prison and concentration camps and so on. And then they died.
Yes.
In massive numbers.
Oh, wow.
And in China, the same stupid thing happened under Mao.
Yes.
The great famine in the 60s, I think it was.
Yes. And then OPEC in the 70s. The 60s, the 70s.
You can't do that when we come to power.
Yes.
We are not going to do that. You want to keep your land.
Yes.
Keep your land. But the agribusinesses, we will take over and we will divide them up or have collective farms and co-ops on the agribusiness. Huge farms that produce most of the agriculture in this country.
Yeah. And which is it's completely different. All the competition and the multinationals and transnationals, and have new processing ways to process these plants, so that they're now outcompeting outcompeting local farmers and so on in these places, the big agri companies and businesses. In a sense, it's different from in China. You can't talk about collectivism, but then in the US, where you have big companies like the wheat farmers competing against the processors and companies, that creates a problem in a sense, because now they are set. What happened is that many of these big corporations, they buy the farms because they can't afford to compete with the farms, so now they have and the fertilizers are very expensive and so on. So now it's as if they're franchise owners,
Franchise farmers.
Yes, that they have become franchise farmers now in a sense.
Purdue runs on that basis. Chickens.
Yeah.
Dale Johnson was a Purdue franchise chicken farmer for a while.
Yes.
Until he blew the whistle on them.
Yes.
And this was then after he retired from Rutgers.
Oh.
He started to farm in Maryland.
Okay. Yes. Yes.
Eastern shore of Maryland, which is a very southern kind of place, actually. And he was farming for Purdue. And he went on the radio. And he gave a talk about the conditions and all that stuff. So all of a sudden they boycotted him. They couldn't get supplies, and they wouldn't buy his supplies.
Right. Wow.
And the other local farmers wouldn't deal with him because Purdue would have gotten them. Also. So he had to go out of business.
Wow.
So he moved to Costa Rica.
Oh, okay.
He speaks Spanish fluently.
Yes.
He had a Spanish-speaking family, so he moved to Costa Rica and became a little bit of a farmer there, but mostly he became a consultant, an agricultural consultant.
Oh, wow.
In Costa Rica.
Yes.
We visited him.
Yeah.
A few years ago. He died. I don't know, 4 years ago maybe.
Yes.
But before that, about 3 years before that, we had visited him in Costa Rica, which is a great place.
Yes. I would love to. I've never been there. I've heard about it. I have a friend from Costa. It's not too far from Ecuador. Yes. It's close to Ecuador, yes?
No, it's in Central America.
Oh.
Costa Rica is just north of Panama.
Yes, that's true. Yes, you're right.
And it's a democracy.
Yes, it is.
They have elections.
You don't hear much with Costa Rica. And they play soccer.
They don't have an official military. They only have police forces.
Yes.
They are very environmentally hip. They are very careful about, tourism.
Yeah.
The environment, very important for tourism.
Yes, that is true. Yes.
They have wonderful areas to see. They have volcanoes. They have beaches. They have sierras, for cattle, flatlands with grass. They have four different geographic environments.
Yes,
it's a wonderful place.
Oh, wow.
There are American expats there, retired there. Good decent medical system, better than here.
Yes.
In terms of, maybe not in terms of certain specialties, but in terms of cost.
Yes.
You will not go bankrupt. Your family will not go bankrupt in Costa Rica because you have medical expenses. It doesn't exist there. It's much more like Canada or Western Europe. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Great place.
I was speaking with some people who went to Chile, and they were talking about Chile. Chile is amazing. It's really beautiful.
Yes.
Yes.
Well, that's also got a number of different environments.
Yes, and they were saying that too.
From north to south.
So
where have you been besides Jamaica?
St. Lucia, Grenada. I love St. Lucia. Love Grenada.
Wow.
Yes, to the Eastern Caribbean.
Too many tornadoes.
Yes. Cayman Islands. I lived in Cayman actually. I was a pastor, and I did mission work there. I did mission to develop youth programs. My job was to go and develop youth there because they never really have a lot of youth programs. And
we've been, let's see, we've been in Antigua.
yes, I went to
on
Antigua
a,
and
on a
Barbuda.
sailing
Yeah,
trip for about a week.
very bucolic, Antigua.
Antigua,
Very
and
small.
we were in where else? We've been in the Dominican
Yes, the
Republic
the
for about a
Dominican
week.
Republic. Yes.
And where else have we been? Puerto Rico.
I learned so much. I learned that I mean Haiti and the Dominican Republic, they're on the same. They're on the same kind of land.
Yeah.
And I heard that Haiti, when they got independence, they tried to they tried to colonize, or probably they were. Dominican Republic was a colony of Haiti, I heard.
No.
Or they tried to colonize DR.
Or
And
maybe back in 1780.
yeah, way back in the, and I think that's just why a lot of Dominic people from the DR, and this whole idea that we are not black, we are white, because of the problems that they had with Haiti.
Yeah,
And
you don't want to be a Haitian living in the Dominican.
No, absolutely not.
No.
Oh, I mean, I was reading. I as I prepared for the Caribbean Thought class. There's some stuff I didn't know. As I was doing external reading, I understand the culture and why they have a problem identifying. When I used to work in social work, and I said, okay, what is your ethnicity? It's easy, but what's your race? That's a problem for them. It's a problem say, because
it's a problem everywhere.
Because that is true.
Look, in Brazil, it's the same.
You see what's going on with Brazil?
In Brazil, there's a color gradation. Right? Yes. The whiter you are, the more likely you are to end up in the government and business and so on.
That is true. Yeah.
If you're white, you're all right.
Yes.
If you're brown, stay around.
Stay around.
If you're black, get back.
Get back. Yes.
It's a song,
Oh.
The artist is named Big Bill Brunzi.
Big Bill Brunzi, yeah.
And he sang the song.
Yeah,
very popular.
I'm gonna take it out. Big Bill Brunzi?
Brunzi, Broonzie, I guess.
Yes.
Big Bill Brunzi. If you're black, you're all right. If you're brown, stick around. Black, you're right.
Yes. Yeah. Oh wow! This is quite interesting.
Listen, we have to conclude this.
Yes, this was really good. As always, learn a lot and would learning a lot from you is perfect. It's amazing as I develop my own.
Send me another draft.
Yes, I will make. Yes,
draft, and then I will write you a forward.
Yes.
So you're ready. You already penciled in my name.
Yes, that's what I'm talking about. And I love this. I'm going to write you another one. Definitely. I'm going to write it definitely. And thank you for listening to another powerful episode of the Neoliberal Realm podcast. Join us later this week or sometime this weekend when we will begin the first episode in the lecture series looking at Caribbean thought. Again, the first episode of the lecture series towards developing an academic thought journal, towards developing a Caribbean thought academic journal. And we will begin the first part of that series, which is going to be a quarterly series that runs alongside the academic journal that we are hoping to publish and to release. So, but we will begin to release excerpts of the lecture series on the Neoliberal podcast. It promises to be exciting because we're going to be having several guests. We're going to have Brian Concanon, who is the executive director of the IJHD or IJHD International Justice on Haiti or Haitian development.
And then there is also the Professor Emeritus Dr. Martin Oppenheimer joins us will also be a guest at the will also be a guest on the series on the podcast, and also will also be a guest presenter. In addition to John Anthony Castro, when we talk about several issues on immigration, American penetration, American politics in Caribbean thought, because as we said that the diaspora and issues is also important to the whole concept of Caribbean thought when we start delving into Caribbean thought as a course. The first class we had it today, which was quite interesting, quite powerful. I can't wait to share some of the discussions we have with you guys. Thank you for listening to the Neoliberal podcast. Join us on Sunday for another show. Walk good.